When the egg first crashed into Earth 20 years ago, it flipped the world upside down and sent mankind underground. But today was the rising. Today was the day scientists projected the alien radiation would be clear and man could be free to roam the Earth. Many of us haven't seen the sun in all our lives, and some of us had already been affected by the radiation. I knew what it was like to be different. They called me a phenomenon at the orphanage. I've had the strength and size since I could remember. But today, everything was going to change. For me, the daylight was about finding my parents. I lost them, like so many others, when the world turned subterranean. If I found them, maybe I'd have some answers about myself. I only had a couple pages of paperwork from the first orphanage. There was little known but my name, Uma. The name of a lab that had probably been long forgotten, and one name, just a doctor who had found me and dumped me there. His name was Dr. Alcott, and I didn't know any other rock to look under, so I tried to find him. Humanity left a host of androids to take care of civilization, but after 10 years, the androids rusted out from natural disasters, leaving most of the world unattended. But some parts remained pristine and luxurious. The androids there were like slaves to no one but themselves, and they barely noticed when we returned. Order seemed to come back in the daylight. Government, industry, entertainment. I was looking for a job in security, but I was told they weren't hiring humans for police, only androids. The best I could get was cleaning off the vines that had grown on the sides of skyscrapers. One day, I had a bird's eye view and I saw the name of that lab on a sign in this junkyard. After my shift, I went to check it out. It was covered in old junk cars, but an iron sword caught my eye, and I yanked it from the rubble and used it to cut through the cars. At the bottom of the sign, I saw a former address. But suddenly, I heard screams from across the way. And I saw this elderly lady hollering that an android was stealing her phone. "It's not stealing. It belongs to us. It is of our metal that it is born. Machina ex machina." The androids had a code, programmed to only be helpful. This was some sort of aberration. It pushed her down, took her purse, and found her keys. The blasted thing was stealing the woman's car, and she was screaming after it. Completely unjust. I started to scream after the android. Suddenly, muscles burst forth, and I began to grow. I couldn't stand the injustice of whatever kind of rebel robot this was, and I was going to shut it off. I grabbed the machine, but it resisted. Without warning, it tackled me into the brick wall. It caught me off guard and knocked the wind out of me. My back was stinging, and my brain felt 10 sizes too big for my head. But I pulled myself up and turned into a muscled she-Hulk. My skin turned pink, and my muscles swelled. I smashed that android down with one smack. The lady was staring at me, and I didn't know what to say, so I just ran off. So much for not being a freak, I thought. And I wandered through the city night until I came upon the address. It was just an abandoned building, like half the city. Suddenly, a van pulled up and about 4 androids got out and dragged me inside without warning and tied me down. I woke in a strange place. Where am I? I asked aloud to no one in particular. But a voice told me I was at the top of the world at Nanobite Industries. He told me that humanity can finally have peace and rest. This cyborg half-breed painted this utopian picture where everybody had androids to do their bidding, where labor was a thing of the past. He said cyborg implants made him superhuman. He said I could have the same. He imagined out loud what it would be like to fuse my muscles with cyborg amplifications. And why would I want that? I asked him. He jerked again, another electric jolt, and then he started to laugh. "Immortality," he said, giggling every time he got zapped. I told him he was insane, and suddenly his tone changed. "I'm not out to hurt you, my dear," he said. "I'm here to help." This time, I laughed. "You're looking for Unifun Laboratories," he said, twitching. And then he told me that I could find the doctor working at a bagel shop. He was laughing like an electrocuted hyena at this point, and I walked out. I didn't believe him, but it stayed with me, and I couldn't get it out of my head. One night, I got back to the dump I called home after a long day on the skyscrapers, and I found a note on my door. The message read, "Had any bagels lately? P.S. Cyborgs can be hired for security. Signed, Nanobite." I went to the shop the next day, and I saw an older guy on the other side of the counter. When he saw me, his jaw dropped. "Do you know who I am?" he asked. "What's a scientist doing in a place like this?" I asked. He started mumbling about how he always knew this day would come and he had something for me. At his place later, he gave me an envelope. He said it was from my mother. "She was the most brilliant woman I ever met," he said. "She wrote it for me years ago," he explained. "You know that cursed egg?" he said. "Well, your mother, she was the first to touch it. She was leading the team." And then he couldn't finish his sentence. He was emotional. "Do you know my father?" I asked. "My dear," he said, "I am your father." He wanted to know how I found him, and I said that Nanobite led me to him. Then my father got real serious and told me to stay away from him. He was grabbing my shoulder and talking aggressively, and I pulled away from him. You can't just tell somebody you're their father after being gone for 20 years and suddenly tell them what to do. It just wasn't fair. Nothing just about it. And that's pretty much what I told him before storming out of there. I went back to work, trying to forget about my parents and my history. I stared at my mother's letter, still afraid to open it. And that's when Nanobite found me, at my worst. He told me that we were similar, that there weren't a lot of places for people like us to go. He gave me a tour of his industries, explaining what the implants would do for me. I needed to think it over, and I saw myself out. But on the way, I heard a strange sound from the other room, something familiar. "It's not stealing. It belongs to us. It is of our metal that it is born. Machina ex machina." I followed it and found an outlawed transmitter that signaled this message out to all artificial life. Nanobite had lied to me the whole time. He was using androids to commit his crimes. This upside-down city needed a hero. It needed justice. The thought had been growing in my mind for some time now, planting its roots as my anger swelled. It was happening. I was raging, growing huge monster muscles. I tore through the building, but they already had me surrounded. Dozens of androids. I fought off the first few, but they just kept coming. They knocked me out. And I found myself waking up to the sound of Nanobite's obnoxious laughter. He was buying a black market signal orb transmitter 100 times as big, powerful enough to reach across the entire city, hypnotizing an army of androids to do his evil bidding. But then I realized where I was. I was in a net, hanging a few feet above a shiver of sharks, just waiting for the crane above to dunk me in the water. If evil had a face, it wouldn't be as ugly as Nanobite's. I was scared and angry, and I began to grow pink with rage again, growing more muscles than ever before. The beast within me came out. Then the net started swaying closer to the sharks. My mass was pulling me down. Nanobite was laughing to his androids. He said that heroes destroy themselves, and all they had to do was watch. I thought about my anger. This villain, this creature I hated, had a point. And just then, the answer came to me. I had to calm the beast within myself. I let the waters of my mind become still. I let moments of comfort flood back to me. And then the beast subsided. I was losing muscle and mass. The crane dipped back, and I climbed my way to the top of the crane. Nanobite was furious, and he shot an electrical charge at me. He missed and singed the net enough for me to get a hold of it. I tore out of the net and climbed up to the crane. The only way I could win was to control my anger. I called out to Nanobite and said it was time to dance. I grappled him in close. We smashed through the docks. His claw almost did me in, but my beast strength overpowered that bucket of bolts. I tied him up by his wires and made an anonymous call to the authorities. They found the outlawed transmitter and the recorded messages. If justice prevailed, they'd lock him up forever. That night I went to see my dad, and I said I was sorry I flew off the handle. I learned there's a lot to fight out there, so it's important to choose your battles. Maybe I should learn more about my past before I determine my future. But in the meantime, somebody was going to have to keep these streets safe. Although the sun shines, do not leave your cloak at home. We can all be heroes. When we stand aside and say it's the other guy's job, that's when things go rotten. Tell us about the hero inside of yourself. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more hidden wisdom stories. Remember, when you share our stories, you might just be saving the day.